Good evening everyone and welcome along to TTML F1. We are here tonight for the final round of the season. That is round 10 of season 5 as we take in the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix from the Yas Marina circuit. My name is James Hay, going to be taking through the stream as your solo commentator tonight, and as you can tell, no fancy graphics or anything tonight, so you're going to be stuck with me for a good hour and a half, which I hope you don't mind on a Thursday night. And of course, coming into tonight, we have got a championship battle, the only tier to have a championship battle going into the final round of the season here in TTML. And if you're wondering what, of course, happened last week in TTML F1 in Brazil, Tom took the win, an absolute dominant performance. Jonas in second, Benny finishing in third. The stewards report also coming out of that as well. There were no reports from last week, which was absolutely fantastic. Great job to everyone. Harry Banks leads the championship on 180 points coming into tonight. Jorg in second on 158 and Tom in fourth on 144. Harry Banks and Jorg are the only two drivers that can now win this championship. It is between those two with a 22 point advantage for Jorg to try and turn around. And as you can actually see, both of them are not actually here. So has the championship already been decided? We have only got 8 drivers in, sadly. But Harry Banks out on top from Jorg in second, as I say. Tom Levin third on 144, very strong season despite him not showing up to half of the races. Isotopic in fourth on 142, Simply Superman in fifth on 117, Noisy in sixth on 115, Break FN in seventh on 113, Hazara in eighth on 102, Perpetuum in ninth on 93, and Kazizel in 10th on 58, along with Frankie Fro. Running down the rest of the field, of course, Wedge in 12th on 54, Funky Chicken in 13th on 51, Volokongan in 14th on 49, Chris in 15th on 47, Tiago in 16th on 38, Jonas in 17th on 37, Benny in 18th on 35, Mashiro in 19th on 32, and Lynx in 20th on 25 points. That is one of the main championship protagonists just joining us within the lobby. That is Jorg, of course, joining up. Harry Banks not here just yet, maybe getting in a little bit of a late practice coming into tonight. And of course, if you do want to watch more action on this channel, F2 and F3 are also live, so if you do want to tune in for that, you can do indeed. But Harry Banks, as I say, leading the championship coming into tonight. It is going to be fascinating. And not only that, we have got a constructors battle to settle as well. It is between Red Bull and Aston Martin, and that only comes down to 20 points. Red Bull leading the way on 293, Aston Martin in second on 273. The rest are completely out of it. McLaren now in third on 196, Mercedes in fourth on 182. Alfa Romeo in 5th on 168, Ferrari in 6th on 116, Alpine 7th on 93, Williams in 8th on 32, Haas in 9th on 26, and AlphaTauri in 10th on the nil points. AlphaTauri not scoring any points so far this season, but Red Bull out on top, Aston Martin in second, 20 points separating the constructors battle. Of course, let us know who you are supporting, let us know how how everything is going to unfold, of course, out on track. We are about a minute away from starting. We'll be having a bit of a slight delay. There's only 9 drivers here. There was 11 scheduled to be racing. F4 and F5. Yes, F4 and F5, of course, also has championship battles, I may add as well. So if you can tune in that tomorrow night, of course, F4 and F5, of course, for TTML. We are here, of course, for the top tier, the big dog, TTML F1. And hopefully, as I say, it is going to be a fascinating night's worth of action. At this stage, I think I may as well try and make an appearance out on track, given the amount of attendance that we certainly have currently within the lobby. Just checking the F1 chat as well. Funky Chicken is saying, please can you join immediately? So if you are listening in, and if you are in contact with Harry Banks or with anybody that might be actually racing tonight, then please get them in. Please get them in now. And only applies, of course, to F1 drivers. F2 and F3, of course, they have their own streams coming into tonight. Hopefully, as I say, Harry Banks has just managed to join in the session. Thank God we weren't getting a bit of a boring race with Jorg possibly wrapping up the championship. Harry Banks, though, is in. Very, very glad to report. And the Red Bull is on a red bar at this moment in time. But the title decider, Harry Banks against Jorg, the swing of things last week also look like Harry Banks is probably the one to beat, but Jorg has had consistent results in the last couple of weeks as well. And I mean, going throughout the season, Jorg picked up a win in the United States 2 races ago. He did a very good performance to outscore again Harry Banks on a number of points last week in Brazil. And those 2 weeks obviously followed the win from Harry Banks in Japan. So it all has been leading up, really, to a Red Bull and Aston Martin showdown. And obviously, as well, the constructors, both drivers here for each team, Aston Martin and Red Bull. So what remains to be seen is, can Break FN bring the fight to the Aston Martins? Can also Harry Banks try and relinquish the title off Jorg and Noisy, of course, in terms of the constructors as well? All of these questions are going to be answered very soon indeed. We are just waiting on Thiago and Tom to show up, so we should be up to 12 drivers if both of them do decide to join. Harry Banks, he only has bad internet to you. Everyone else is green on mine. Yeah, you've got a 1-bar connection, I can confirm. If you are listening to the stream, Harry, I can see that on certainly my end. Everyone else for me on a green bar. So maybe a few a few connection issues possibly, but I know it's been like that before and his connection has been absolutely fine. But 10 drivers currently within the lobby. It is very disappointing. Final round of the season, you would expect everyone to try and go out there and put on a show for everyone in the cleanest and fairest manner possible. But again, I'm going to reiterate the fact from pretty much all season here in F1, the attendance has been shocking. Let's just face that now. The attendance has been absolutely shocking. And for final round of the season, this is probably topping the lot, to be honest. 10 drivers for a season finale where the minimum points that everyone's going to be picking up currently is 10 points minimum. I mean, come on, I'd be laughing that up if I was a driver in F1. I'd be honestly wanting to get out there on track, score some points for myself, and I don't care how the season has gone. But obviously it is disappointing that we have only got 10 drivers. We are going to wait until 8:04 apparently, so about 2 minutes time we're going to be getting going. But as I've always said as well, quality over quantity. Because there's only 10 drivers here, it might not mean we're going to get the race that everyone is probably wanting on stream, probably wanting as part of the channel here on League Racing TV. But still, quality over quantity, and the quality of the action far outweighs the quantity of the drivers. And I think the quality of the action, certainly within these 10 drivers here, is going to be really good indeed, and hopefully there's going to be some very clean driving standards. And Simply Superman putting in a comment as well within the Discord just to bring up to speed. People who don't bother shouldn't be given full-time seats next season. As a league director, of course, moving forward in TTML, I haven't announced it yet, but on the stream certainly, as league director moving forward, and as one of the 4 league directors moving forward, I will promise this right now, that people who have had a very bad attendance, who have only showed up to 2 or 3 races this season, will not get a full-time seat next season. That is a guaranteed fact. So if you are one of those drivers, might be listening or tuning in at a later date for this stream, be on the lookout in your DMs, honestly, because the attendance tonight certainly has been absolutely shocking. But quality over quantity, as always. Say 10 drivers about to do battle. We have got the 2 title deciders to do, of course, the drivers and the constructors battle to be played out across 28 laps, 18 minutes of qualifying as well. And 5.5 kilometres, 3.4 miles, of course, around the Yas Marina circuit. Not the Marina Bay Street circuit, as I've called this track in the past, but the Abu Dhabi circuit, of course, the Yas Marina circuit, in its current format. Now, obviously, the format is changing in real life. And I've seen, in terms of some of the changes, Turn 5 has certainly changed. The hairpin coming through, the chicane has been removed, so now it's a tight left hairpin, and from the camera angle, it certainly looks like that is going to be a bit of a Constantino effect out on track, like it has been in the past in league races around here. But we have to wait and see, of course, how everyone is going to be getting on in qualifying. Of course, it is going to be dry. It's set to midnight in terms of the conditions as well. So, a fair fight, a clean fight, hopefully, for the title. It looks as if it's going to be in Harry Banks' order. Jorg, of course, has got a lot of ground to make up, but you know, anything can happen here in Formula 1. Break FN cleaned up by his console, not ready up in time, but we now are getting going. Only 10 drivers here, but everyone's going to be picking up a minimum of 10 points, so I see that as a double win for these guys, to be honest. And thank you to Lynx, Jorg, Noisy, Volakong, Frankie Fro, Break FN, Funky Chicken, Simply Superman, Sionis and Harry Banks for all showing up on time pretty much every single week. And you guys are what makes TTML take over, and it is fantastic to see you guys here tonight about to do battle around, of course, the Abu Dhabi circuit. But we are 30 seconds into qualifying, no movement coming out the pit lane so far. Of course, it is quite an expensive track as well, so normally with 20 cars I'd be saying everyone is going to be picking up traffic on their laps. It is very limited in terms of traffic tonight, obviously with only 10 drivers, and pretty much me wasting my time trying to stream this, to be honest. But I am a man of my word. We're going to stream this right to the end, and we're about to get our first cars out on track. I think there is movement in both the Red Bull and the Aston Martin garage, and it's Jorg, I think, the first man who was going to be coming out. No, it's actually Noisy coming out first time, so Noisy is out first, and he's followed by Break FN. So already we've got Aston Martin against Red Bull in terms of the first drivers out on track, and hopefully that might not be a sign of things to come in terms of Aston Martin leading Red Bull out. Break FM, by the way, on a set of medium compound tyres. Noisy also on a set of medium compound tyres, and the tyre wear around this track normally quite heavy. It's about 6-7% a lap on a set of soft compound tyres. And trust me when I say this, it is probably one of the most expansive tracks where you are going to lose your tyre degradation very quickly. Even if you are Jorg, who I know is the best tyre management guy in this field, he will struggle to try and manage his own tyres tonight, given the amount of tyre wear that is actually happening and the amount of track degradation that also happens out there on track. By the way, the task system is in operation tonight, if you are wondering. The task system is in operation tonight, so I'm going to be feeding you through live data, hopefully, of everything. It looks like Lynx has incorrectly set his nationality and or telemetry settings, so might be a penalty coming his way for Lynx. I know it's the final round of the season, but we have to be fair to every single driver, of course, within the league. Notice now coming through turn 13. And then in towards one of my favourite sequence of corners on this track, through this triple right-hander. You've got to brake pretty much just after the curve there at 15, then in towards 16, then under the grandstand of 17, and then through 18, and then in towards turn 19, this left-hander. One of the best series of corners, I think. This final sector is so technical, if you get it wrong, it is going to really cost you. We're right on board then with Noisy on the left-hand side. I'll get rid of the time tab so you've got a full view of the Aston Martin running down in towards turn number 1. So, sets us off on the lap. 2.28 litres of fuel on his car. So Noisy clearly going to be getting, hopefully, maybe 2 laps in if he doesn't improve. He's on a set of mediums, coming through Carcalid corner at turn 3, and then in towards turn 4, out of turn 4, and then in towards the chicane of 5 and 6, which of course is not going to be there in real life. And the hairpin, it is not going to be here either, pretty much, coming through turn 7, and now down the long 1 kilometre straight down in towards turn 8. Noisy looking good through the first sector, a 17.2 and 18.8 from Break Offence, so clearly backing off his lap, probably just to try and get a banker in. Noisy, however, coming through the end of the first sector. Volokongan is slightly slower through the first sector, about 300s behind, so Noisy currently holding the purple first sector out on track. Now coming out through hanging like a cow corner, coming through turn 9, and then in towards the king of 10, and then into the left-hander, of course, of 11, 12 and 13. 58.3 through the middle sector, that translates to a 41.1 in the middle sector from Noisy. Now flies through turn 13, in towards 14, and then my favourite sequence of corners, as I say, turn 15, 16 and 17. Most satisfying corners around this track, where you don't pick up any invalidations either. Noisy now through 17, and then underneath the grandstand, coming through turn 18 and 19. Looking good on this lap, I've got to say, from Noisy's perspective. The Dutchman on a good lap in towards turn 20. These are the final 2 corners, but we could mess things up beautifully within the white lines. Now coming around the final corner, running towards the line. Volokongan is about 5 tenths up and through the middle sector as well, but Noisy with 35.8 starts us off on the night. I'll just refresh everything. Right on board with Volokongan, 57.9, so it's about 4 tenths up on Noisy's time. And you would imagine we're going to be seeing 134s, I think, certainly on a set of soft compound tyres, maybe even sneaking into the 133s. There was a time where you could set a 131 around this track. Volokongan then running to the line, and he barely goes quicker, actually. He lost a lot of time in that final sector, and he lost about 4 tenths of a second in that final sector alone. So Volokongan there in first, Noisy in second, Break FN in third. He just got a bit of a banker lap in. Jorg, however, on a set of soft compound tyres, 17.3 through the first sector. Not sure if he's on a banker lap here, but he is 2 tenths up on Volokongan's time coming out of the middle sector to 40.7. He is not purple, though, in the middle sector, and he neatly slides coming out of turn 13 through 14. Now the Dutchman in towards 15, 16 and 17. But Jorg What can he do? This final sector, Volakongan's final sector was poor, Noisy's final sector was brilliant. Yoga's got to try and fit in between them both, to be honest. If he sets around, what, a 37.3, I would say, he's in chance of getting pole position coming out the final corner. And now Jorg running to the line. I don't think that was a push lap, and actually it does. It's a 35.8, and, as I rightfully said, a 37.6 through the middle sector. So not the quickest final sector out of everyone. Harry Banks has started up on a lap as well. And Harry Banks is invalidated, actually, coming through the kink of turn 10. Very weird place to invalidate there. 57.7 though from Harry Banks through the middle sector. It was looking good up until that point. Frankie Fro is also on a lap. And he actually is just invalidated on this lap as well. So I think he's got this and next lap invalidated coming out of turn 1. Jorg though out on top. Volakongan in second. Volakongan going for another lap? No, Jorg not going on for another lap. So everyone at the minute, either in the pit lane or out on track, are on either down laps or are invalid. And Harry Banks actually is going to start another lap by the looks. As he now comes out of the final corner, running towards the line. A very short run, by the way, from the final corner to the start-finish line. We hear the Red Bull sounding, coming through turn 1, and then in towards turn 2 and 3. And I think Harry Banks has backed off this lap. He just wants to try and get maybe a bit of a banker in. He's got low fuel as well, actually, so I think he's trying to get to the end, and he might be on a down lap. It was purple through the first sector, however, indicative not of the fastest that we've seen so far from Noisy. Jorg out on top. 7 minutes gone in quarterfinal. If you are just tuning in, Jorg out on top, Volakongan in second, Noisy in third. I'm going to have a look at the comment section and see how you guys are doing on this fine night. Simply Superman saying higher attendance than the 2020 Champions League final. Totally agree. I think every event in 2020 can be included in that as well, including Eurovision. But Jorg out on top, Volakongan in second, Noisy in third. As I say, attendance very poor for a final race of the season. It was to be expected, if I've got to say so myself. It was to be expected, but not on this scale. I think 12 or 13, yeah, I would have been fine with. There is a yellow flag through the middle sector. I think that's Harry Banks, who might have just run out of fuel. Jorg, however, back into the pit lane, still out on top, a hundredth of a second ahead of Volakongan. Noisy there in third. And Harry Banks not on a lap, I don't think. He is the only one that's actually physically on a lap. He's got Lynx, I think, in front of him. So Lynx, I think, is going to be one of the first ones to start us off on a fresh lap. I believe he's on a set of soft compound tyres as well. Yep, he is. And there is the Williams now coming through the final couple of corners. Let's ride on board again. He's now come through the final corner. Timing tower beautifully off to the left-hand side. Actually, so you can see a full grid, full rundown of the list on the left-hand side as Lynx now runs us off in towards turn number 1, breaks just off the 100-metre pole, gets the car turned in, rotated in very nicely indeed. Now through turn 2, and then through car killer corner at turn 3. Watch out for the curve on the inside. There is a bollard there now on this game. And now Lynx coming through the end of the first sector. 17.2 through the first sector, there or thereabouts with the medium compound tyres that we've seen so far. And actually slightly quicker than Jorg's lap time. So Lynx now on a lap, 17.292, about 700th of a second. Noisy's fastest first sector so far, but it's Jorg out on top, Volakongan in second, Noisy in third. Sionis has also just started up on a lap. Sionis, regular reserve here in F1. He might need to stick up into a full-time seat maybe next season. But of course, we are changing the format next season, which I'll come on to, of course, at the end of the stream. But Lynx on a lap in toward the end of the middle sector. Of course, not saying this task system, but we can still follow him because he's the only one that has got a bit of a task regulation on him. 57.8 through the middle sector, translates to 40.5. It's the fastest out of everyone by about a 10th and 3/4 through the middle sector. There was a Red Bull getting out the way off track, and then there's Break FN, I think, who invalidated on his lap. Sionis is also on a lap, just coming through the final sector as well. But Lynx now coming out of turn 18, now through turn 19, the left-hander. Looking very nice indeed. 8 minutes and 20 seconds to go. Lynx hopefully going to be up there with this lap. Brit has really impressed since joining the league a couple of races ago. The RFR man, of course, being the academy driver for IFR, comes to the line. And a 35.2. That's more like it on a set of soft compound tyre. Lynx out on top. Jorg in second. Volakongan in third. What's Sionis on? Sionis goes fifth on a set of mediums. 36.1. Not the quickest medium runner, but he's only 3/10 away from Volakongan, his teammate, so it's not a bad lap at all. Noisy is invalidated on his lap. 0.3 of a second down through the end of the first sector. and he's actually 2 tenths up on this lap. It's a 58.1. He's 2 tenths up on this lap. However, it is invalid, so Noisy obviously not going to be setting up on a lap. I think he invalidated through the first sector by the looks. Jorg, however, let's ride on board with one of our main championship protagonists. Harry Banks currently starting in P10, Jorg in P2, and it's clear to see how many points is going to be on the line because of the minimum points that we've got. We've got 10 points, I think, available to everyone for at least finishing tonight and at least trooping it out to the end, which would be brilliant because I think everyone will. Jorg, if Harry Banks comes 10th, actually, I have just clicked on, Harry Banks has already won the championship. Because of the amount of drivers that's turned up, Harry Banks has actually already won the championship, I believe. So, Harry Banks, it's 22 points the advantage coming into tonight. Jorg through the middle sectors, looking quite quick on the set of mediums. So we'll see what this lap time is going to be through the end of the middle sector. The sector time is going to be through the end of the middle sector. And he is there or thereabouts, 700 up through the end of the middle sector. But I've actually just clicked on Harry Banks, because of the limited attendance. If we had 12 drivers, then Jorg could have tied for the championship win. But because Harry Banks, there's only 10 drivers here, because Harry Banks has 22 points, and in theory there's only 20 points available, plus a point for fastest lap, which is only 21. Harry Banks basically can finish 10th, Jorg can win, and the gap will come down to points. So Harry Banks has already won the championship, I think. So Jorg coming through the final corner, running to the line. Good lap on a set of mediums, 35.3. Really good improvement in that final sector as well. But for the bad news for Jorg is, I think this is all in vain, to be honest, because if my maths is right, Harry Banks, I think, has won the championship, given that there's nobody to try and challenge him. But of course, the only permutation to this is if Harry Banks doesn't finish and Jorg wins the title. So there's another permutation there as Harry Banks has spun, coming through car killer corner at turn 3. And Harry Banks spins, coming through turn 3, and that'll set the rear tyres completely alight, coming through turn 3, catching the curb on the inside line, runs across in towards the hairpin at turn 7, not happy with the lap, obviously invalid now. And Harry Banks down in 10th position. Is he going to remain that way? Volokongan to the line. Good improvement in the final sector. He found 7/10 of a second in the final sector. Very good lap from Volokongan. And he goes top. 34.9. Puts it all on the line there. Break FN in 6th position currently. And actually, in terms of constructors, Jorgen Noisy 3rd and 4th. Break FN and Harry Banks 6th and 10th currently. So, Aston Martin seems to hold all the cards to the Red Bulls so far. But if you can tell me, if you work it out quickly, if you're watching in the comment section, tell me if I'm right in saying that Harry Banks has already won this championship. Because I believe he has. I believe he has. And I'll check the point system, and I'm pretty sure with the point system will back me up on this. And I'll try and find the point system actually while I'm at it. Yeah, 30 points for the win. 10th is 10 points. And the fastest laps are points, so it's 22 points coming into tonight. Harry Banks, without doing anything, has won the title. Without doing anything, has won the title. So we may as well stop the stream here and just say Harry Banks is champion and have done with the race. But Volokongan out on top. Of course, we have got the final race to go of the season. But Harry Banks is champion of TTML F1. Constructors, however, is the main priority now. With a 20-point advantage, that's a little bit more tricky. But basically, if Jorgen Noisy and the Aston Martins outscore Harry Banks and Break FN by 21 points, they win the Constructors. If Harry Banks and Break FN outscore Jorgen Noisy, then it's all over. Red Bull, of course, outscore Aston Martin, and they win the championship there. So it's only the Constructors that I think can be decided now. Volokongan though out on top, Links in second, Jorgen third. Speaking of Break FM, by the way, a 10th and a half up through the, a second and a half of actually coming down through the end of the first sector, in towards turn 9, and then through turn 10. The Volokongan out on top, Links in second, Jorg in third. He does need to finish, yeah, that's what I said earlier on. He does need to finish. 1.7 seconds off a Break FN. Looking like a good lap so far, around a 36 flat at this stage. But he will have a good final sector in between them. But yeah, Harry Banks, I totally agree, has to finish, and I did say that earlier on, he has to finish, but if he doesn't finish and Jorg wins, Jorg basically has to either finish second to win the title. third will not be good enough because he'll draw and he'll go to camp back. Break FN, however, will on this lap with him in towards the final couple of corners. Let's see what the Red Bull can do. He now comes through the final corner. This is looking like a quite quick lap, to be honest, from Break FN. Coming to the line, and he goes fourth, 35.5. Good lap there by Break FN. And Tionis also on lap as well. He's 6 tenths down coming to the end of the first sector, so might have made a slight mistake. But Volokonga now on top. Lynx in second, Jorg in third. And all dependent on Harry Banks, who's actually just got up to fifth there, 35.5. So good lap time there by Harry Banks on a set of mediums. Clearly that is him done, I think, in this qualifying session. Funky Chicken is just invalidated coming out of turn 7. And actually, he's got a little bit of left side end plate damage on that car. So I think he's been into the wall somewhere. So Funky Chicken now done in P9, Simply Superman there in P10. Lynx, however, on a lap. Let's see what he is doing through the end of the first sector. It's a 17.2 through the first sector from Lynx. So, not as quick as Noisy, but he's 400th up on his time so far, is Lynx. 35.290 his time. Dives it in towards turn 8 through turn 9, and that is all your time absolutely wasted away by that late entry into the apex. And Lynx now, I don't think is going to be improving in this middle sector. It'll be very, very difficult if he does. And look at him, he's well down, he's 5 tenths down as a result of that, and I think he's probably going to back off this lap. You may as well back off the lap and wait for the next one to come around. Volokongan out on top, Lynx in second. Tionis has retired into the pit lane, so that's Tionis out the session. Jorg is going slow on a set of softcom banner tyres. Can he get pole position? Break FN on a lap, he's back into the pit lane, so he's not going to be getting any time in at all. Harry Banks invalidated, not going to be getting any time in. Noisy through the end of the first sector, 17.3, so a little bit way off in terms of his first sector. Frankie Fro is also on a lap coming through the final couple of corners as well. That's Funky Chicken on board with there. Frankie Fro, however, coming out of the middle sector, 40.9 through the middle sector, which is not too bad. Lynx, by the way, didn't improve on his lap either. But now the Ferrari coming through. Final couple of corners, really flying and attacking the car. The Australian flying into the Middle East tonight to try and race. Funky Chicken has retired from the session coming through turn 3, and Simply Superman has been disqualified for being parked in a dangerous location, and that is down the pit lane, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's is he independent? Oh no, he was through turn 3, sorry, and Funky Chicken actually has retired in the pit lane. So just to clarify on that, Funky 4, by the way, improved 36.4. He did set a lap time in. However, Lynx setting the timing screens alight. You can see on board with him now, 700ths of a second up. Has he got enough fuel to get to the end of his lap? End of qualifying is done. Jorg, Break FN, Harry Banks, the 2 title contenders, are not finishing this race, not finishing qualifying, I should say. Lynx, however, through the middle sector, 2.5 tenths up, and now Lynx could be on for pole position, setting the purple time, setting the timing screens alight in purple's first and middle sectors. Volokongan is not responding. He is down on his time by about 9 tenths of a second. So Lynx has pretty much got pole position wrapped around his tiny little finger, I think, because Lynx now coming through 18, now through 19. Of course, he's got to get valid 20 and 21 to try and stand any sort of chance to get pole position. He's 3.5 tenths, he's 4 tenths off basically on Volokongan. This is a quick lap though from Lynx. Round the final corner to the line. Does he nick it? Yes, he does at 34.7. Volokongan not on a lap either. He just came across the line. And Frankie Fro is improving by 4 tenths per second as well, but I don't think he is going to interfere for pole position. Volokongan back into the pit lane. Frankie Fro is not going to interfere, I don't think, with pole position. Just invalidates, actually, coming out through turn 20. But that is the end of qualifying, and it is IFR Academy Lynx out on top. First pole position of the season at 34.72 tenths clear of Volokongan in the end. Jorg there in third. But look at the strategy that everyone is on, because this is a 28 lap race. Everyone, a majority of the field I would imagine, is going for a set of medium compounded tyres. Of course, with it being 10 drivers, however, do they start on the tyre that they essentially qualified on? Without sending the time in the case of Funky Chicken and Simply Superman, has to wait and see. Lynx, though, out on top. 2 tenths of a second ahead of Volokongan. Jorg in third, and look at that for the constructors. Jorg third, Break FN fourth, Harry Banks fifth, Noisy 6th. Aston Martin 3rd and 6th, Red Bull 4th and 5th. They're pretty much drawn alongside each other, with only Lynx and Volakonga being the exception, maybe to try and interfere as well. Giannis in 7th, Funky Throw in 8th. For Funky Chicken and Simply Superman knocking any times in the 2 Alfa Romeo starting right at the back of the field. And apart from the Ferraris and the Williams as well, of course, it is going to be absolutely fantastic to see how everyone is going to get on. Of course, there is still a race up for grabs. If Harry Banks finishes this race, he is crowned champion. That is the permutation that will go by. But if he doesn't finish, if he DNFs out of the race, we saw a spin from him in qualifying, if he repeats that and goes into the wall, and Jorg then wins the race or finishes second, he is crowned champion. So there's the permutation for Jorg. Basically, Harry Banks needs to finish to win, and Jorg needs to get first or second to win the championship as well. Those are the two permutations. Constructors are a little bit more complicated. However, as I said earlier on in the stream, if Aston Martin outscore Red Bull by 21 points, they win the Constructors. If Red Bull outscore Aston Martin by any amount of points, they have won the Constructors. So it is as simple as that. The 30-second countdown should be getting going very soon indeed. We are prepared, of course, for action to unfold out on track, and we really hope that it's going to be one of these fantastic races that everyone is going to be proud of. No matter the attendance, no matter how many drivers we might have, hopefully this is going to be a fitting finale for the season finale of Season 5 here of TTML F1. But remember, championship permutations fresh in your mind. Jorg and Harry Banks, they're pretty much drawn alongside each other as well. Jorg in 3rd, Harry Banks down there in 5th. They're near to each other. Is there going to be Verstappen-Hamilton sort of contact? Or Prost and Senna back in Brazil, back in Japan? Possibly. Who knows what is going to happen in 28 laps of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. It is going to get going very soon indeed. And you have got the best seat in the house with the best commentator in the house as well. And of course, if you do want to tune in for more action, if you feel employed to tune out of watching me and watch Luke Etheridge instead, you can do for F2. And if you feel much more obliged to try and tune in for Otherbryn Mike in F3 along with Storm, you can tune in for that as well. Pepsi Freak, of course, joining Luke in F2 as well. We have now started the formation lap. And, of course, the majority of the guides going on that 10 medium compounded tyres, which is going to be so crucial. So that's off compounded tyres, of course. They qualified on Lynx, Volakorn and Brake FN. All of them have a set of soft compounded tyres. The rest, Jorg, Harry Banks, Noisy, Giannis and Frankie Throw, all qualified on that centre medium compounded tyres. Funky Chicken and Simply Superman, because they're in the top 10, I think it comes down to what their runs were actually are, and they're on a set of medium compounded tyres as well. Whether that's a fresh choice, or whether that is just because they got to run in and invalidate, and the game counts that, of course, with there only being 10 drivers. They're on a set of medium compounded tyres, so they could be on a worn set or on a fresh set of mediums compared to everyone ahead of them. But Lynx out on top. Lynx has probably got to get the better start out of everyone. Volakonga, we know how quick he is off the launches, and we know, in Belgium especially, how he can be right up there with the pace. But it remains to be seen. What can Jorg do? They're in 3rd position on a set of mediums. Red Bull's obviously going for a bit split strategy. Brake FN, set of soft compounded tyres, could throw a big spanner into the works in terms of the constructors and in terms of the championship battle as well. But basically, what needs to happen is this, if you are just tuning in. Jorg needs to outscore Harry Banks by 23 points to win the title. That is either first or second. Harry Banks needs to DNF for that to happen. Harry Banks basically needs to outscore Jorg by any amount of points, and he has won the title completely. So it is more in Harry Banks' favour. However, anything can happen here in Formula 1. Anything can happen in the league racing community, and anything can happen in the same racing world as well. But Lynx out on top, Volakonga in 2nd, Jorg in 3rd. Get your top 3 predictions in very quickly if you do want to get tuned in, of course, to the action. F2, by the way, has less streams than us, which is very good indeed, and that is satisfying. F1 currently leading the way, Neymar in 2nd, TDB there 3rd. And it is nearly 3 wide, actually, running down in towards the final couple of corners there. But TTML F1, for the final time this season, is about to begin, and the 10 cars now line up on the grid for the final time this season, with the short run down to turn 1 in front of them. Links out on top, Volokongan alongside, and we are just moments away from getting going. The 5 red lights now on here in Abu Dhabi for the season finale of TTML F1, and it's lights out and away we go, and Links responds slower, and Volokongan gets a better start, and Jorg is going to try and follow through as well, but Volokongan leads down in towards turn 1. Links is through into second, Jorg nearly chopped off there third, and now Break FN's down the inside of him, and the Red Bulls are ahead, so Red Bull third and 5th now. Harry Banks stays in 5th, Noisy there in 6th, everyone's clean through turn 3 safely. Volokongan leading the way, breaking Links in second, and Links goes straight on, has a bit of oversteer, and now is going to give the position to pretty much the entirety of the field, which is good sportsmanship, I've got to say, from Links. Doesn't want to pick up a warning either, and he rejoins safely in 7th position. Do you know what? And that is fair sportsmanship. He lets everyone through, gains an unfair advantage right down the back of the field from pole position. Not the start he would have wanted. Break FN, however, is up from 4th into 2nd, and the side-by-side action nearly happening further down the field. Jonas on the back of Noisy. But a good start. Links obviously just overheating those sides, I think, down in towards turn 5, locked up. And now Break FN, as a result, on the back of Volokongan for the lead of the race. It's 2/10 of a second. Predict the pit stop strategy: lap 8 to 12, lap 17 to 21, lap 7 to 12, and lap 18 to 25 on the 2-stop strategy, which is probably the quickest strategy around here as well. Break FN, however, trying to put a little bit of pressure on Volokongan. Volokongan through the middle sector there, certainly through that chicane, was a lot quicker than Break FN, and he just about gets away. Break there in 2nd, Jorg in 3rd, Harry Banks in 4th, filtering through everyone. Cleanest start of the season so far from everyone, which is very good indeed. They're all ingrained in DRS train, apart from Links, who is just struggling maybe with overheating tyres. He's right down the back of the field currently. Funky Chicken, however, on the back of Tionas. And Tionas is going to be under pressure, the Norwegian. Now coming through the final corner, Simply Superman Frankie Throw. Links has came into the pit lane, so Links is in the pit. Is he going to retire out the race, or is he going to continue on and put on a fresh set of mediums or hards? I'd imagine there'll be a set of mediums for him if he is going to continue on. I've just seen on the mini-map, he should be on a set of mediums. I think he's just pulled into that pit stop there. Yeah, he's on a set of medium. Good to see him continue on. He realises that the 10 points is up for grabs as well, so that is key. Noisy, by the way, saying a 3-stop strategy, possibly for the Aston Martin there. Volokongan leading the way. Break FN in 2nd, Jorg in 3rd, Harry Banks in 4th, Noisy in 5th, Jonas in 6th, Funky Chicken in 7th, Simply Superman in 8th, and Frankie Throw in P9. I get a sense of deja vu, perhaps, that these first few laps might just be a little bit boring for our liking, but of course I'll try and bring you through as much of the action as possible. But Red Bull, 2nd and 4th, Jorg, 3rd and 5th. Currently, Red Bull outscoring Aston Martin, therefore they'll wrap up the championship. Jorg currently outscoring Harry Banks, of course not enough to win the championship from his position, unless the stewards were very deceitful and gave Harry Banks like a 20-point deduction, and then Jorg, of course, might be just out on top in the championship. But that never happens here in TTML. We're not like that. Volokongan leading the way. Break FN in 2nd, and Break just locked up there in towards 17. Jorg on the back of him, 5/10 away. And you can clearly see that the mediums are switching themselves on, and Break FN actually nearly hits the wall coming out of turn 19. Through the grandstand section, and this is going to be a very early pit stop, I think, for the guys in a set of soft mediums, clearly the tyre to be on. As we are through the final corner, Volokongan to the line, leads the way, fastest start of the race, 38.8 set by Volokongan. Break FN in 2nd, Jorg in 3rd, and now DRS has been enabled, and as a result, Volokongan will be out of the DRS range on Break FN, and he's going to come under attack from Jorg, possibly down in towards turn 8, and I think, honestly, it looks job done from this point onwards, because Jorg just looks so much quicker on that set of mediums compared to the guy ahead on a set of soft component size, compared to Break FN ahead. And look at him, he's pretty much forcing him through the hairpin there of turn 7, and now on the power, Break will try and break the slipstream, quite literally down the toe definitely, but now Jorg closing in, 195 mile an hour reach, nearly 200 mile an hour on the run down in towards turn 8, doesn't get the move done, and the Funky Chicken is going to go for a move right on the brakes. Lovely move that on the brakes, down into the hairpin. Maybe Funky Chicken just decided to back out of that safely. Simply Superman though through, and he's into 7th position, and now Jorg on the back of Break FN switches to the outside line, and the medium compound tyres really coming into play. Break, however, late on the brakes. I think he's going to force the issue. He does, and nearly lets Harry Banks through with him. So the Red Bulls really fighting now. Let the two championship contenders battle out on track. Jorg nearly got rear-ended there by Harry Banks. There was a slight bit of contact between them both, but think all's fair and love and war at this stage. Volokongan really pulling away though. 2 seconds the gap. Clearly got a little bit fresher tyres than Break FM at this stage of the race. But of course, hopefully it is going to be one of these races that is, of course, going to be absolutely fascinating. Volokongan leading the way, Break FM in second, York in third, Harry Banks in fourth. Everyone now coming through turn 8 safely. Now coming through turn 1 once again, Volokongan leading the way, Break FM in second, York in third, Harry Banks there in fourth, and Harry got to do a good job on the back of York. Oh, nearly lost the rear end there coming through turn 3. If you get caught on that curb, just a little bit on that curb, it really flings your car off. And again, Harry Banks catches on the curb, and mistakes are beginning to creep in. And York right on the back of Break FN on the back as Link sets the new fastest lap of the race. And York now on the back of Break FN. It's going to be absolutely simply done. York down the inside line in towards turn number 8. Gets the job done. Harry Banks is going to try and follow through as well. Still side by side, however, further down the field. Simply Superman looking to try and get the move done on Tionis. Late on the brakes. Nearly a bit of contact actually between the Haas and the Aston Martin there. And the Haas just held up slightly. And now Simply Superman gets a terrific run. Now running out through turn number 8. We've got Break FN catching York as well to try and retake the position for second. And he goes all the way around the outside on York. Try to get the move done. He is there on the inside line. Fair play. Fair racing between them both. Simply Superman waltzes through on the inside line. Just in the back end of shot on Tionis. So 2 moves made. Break FN back through to second. But for how long? Because York is literally like a thorn in his side at this stage. And the set of mediums, as I say, really coming into play. But on that to the softs, the further you hold these guys up, the more Volokongan is going to get away, and the more Volokongan, you would imagine, is the favourite to win this race. Volokongan leading the way though. Break FM realises his tyres are not on, and now he's in from a set of soft compounded tyres. You would imagine he's going to go a set of mediums. They can make possibly 16 laps around here if you really push out the tyre wear. But he's coming in set of mediums, probably 12, 13 laps on a set of mediums, then going back onto a set of mediums as well, right at the end of the race, and Break FN is going to be well ahead of Lynx as well, coming out of the pit lane. Noisy, right on the back of Harry Banks. Volokongan leading the way, Jorgen second, Harry Banks in third, Noisy in P4. Simply Superman and P5. Break FN is ahead of Lynx by a comfortable margin of about 6.5 seconds. And Noisy on the back. Harry Banks is not going to get the move done, I don't think, on York. Maybe in towards turn 11 he might think about it. But York currently in second position. And then Harry Banks in third, Noisy in fourth, Funky Chicken on the back of Tionis. Look at the speed he's got compared to the Haas. And now the Alfa Romeo is going to try and seal this around the outside line. Fair play, and he backs out the move, and I don't think he would have risked that. But Funky Chicken there down in seventh, Tionis in sixth. And everyone remains as they are for at least a lap longer. And one's got to imagine as well, where does Volokongan decide to come into the pit lane? 2.5 seconds. He is just losing time now, actually, compared to York. So I think this lap around would be perfect for Volokongan to not only cover Break FN, he's obviously going to be quick on that set of mediums, but he should come into the pit lane this lap around, and he stays out. He stays out. That's disappointing because he is losing time, and you can see how much he is losing time, getting caught on the outside line. He's lost 0.3 of a second there, just coming across the line alone. And 2 seconds now the gap. I think he's gone maybe a lap too long here in terms of his tyres. And again, nearly lose it coming out of turn 2. And York doing very well on the back to try and catch back up. 1.7 seconds the gap. But honestly, good race so far. Everyone clean driving standards, which is really good to see. Volokongan though leading the way. Jorgen second, Harry Banks in third, Noisy in fourth, and Noisy right on the back of Harry Banks. And Harry Banks realises he's out of the DRS and York, and that is crucial to the chances of Aston Martin in the constructors' fight. Of course, Break FN in the pit lane. Noisy, is he going to try and dive it down the inside line like we've seen him in the past do? No, he goes and waits behind, and you know Noisy by now, different driver compared to Mexico 2 seasons ago, and he's now on the back of Harry Banks to try and get this move done, possibly down in towards turn 11, just turns off the deployment, and actually he's going to turn off the deployment entirely, because down the inside line he goes in towards turn 11, gets the move done, and now Aston Martin are outscoring Red Bull for the first time this race. Noisy through, and he's into P3, and it almost looks like, I think he's got pace over Harry Banks as well. Battle for sixth going on as well. Funky Chicken still on the back of Tionas. Look at the gap as well for the lead. 1.5 seconds now the gap between Volokongan and Jorg. Currently doing a good job so far, but Volokongan leading the way. Is he into the pit lane this time around? No, still going on, so maybe he is going to go medium softs in terms of his strategy. He is staying out a little bit longer than expected, however. I think this is the wrong call. I honestly think these tyres only last around 4 or 5 laps, especially on a worn set. And for you to try and get towards the end of the race on these tyres is going to be very difficult indeed. And look at Jorg just eating into that advantage, and there's the advantage there, because he's now within a second, and Jorg within a second. This is Volokongan's worst hope now out on track. The Haas has got to be wary that Jorg is going to be quicker than him. Is he going to move out the way, or is Jorg going to try and fight this? Down in towards turn 8, try and get the move done. From 8/10 back, it's impossible to try and get the move done, but he will close in. Probably to about 0.5 of a second, I would imagine, down in towards turn 8. Breaker Fen has picked up the first 3-second time penalty of the night, and now Simply Superman going through on Harry Banks, and Harry Banks tries to go on the outside line. Simply Superman on the Irishman coming through the field nicely, and he actually could pick up 2 positions for the price of 1, because Noisy makes a mistake, and now the Irishman is side by side with him, and Noisy hasn't got any DRS at all, and Simply Superman is going to waltz on by, and look at the run of Harry Banks as well. Harry Banks against Noisy in towards turn 11, trying to get the move done all the way around the outside line. Now switches the inside line. Lovely racing between them both, force him up on the curb. Noisy comes back at him though, and Noisy forces Harry Banks up the curb, and now he's through and he's into P4. All fair in love and war. Harry Banks on the back of Noisy, still in towards 17, doesn't get the move done. Volokongan though, 0.4 of a second behind is Jorg, and Jorg right on the back, and Volokongan currently leading the way. Jorg there in second as Volokongan into the pit lane. No, still not coming into the pit lane this lap around, and Jorg is just tracking him, just following through. He's literally like a fly on the wheel arches of that Haas in front. But at this moment in time, in terms of the championship standings, Jorg, at this moment in time, of course, is not going to be outscoring Harry Banks. Harry Banks in 5th position at this stage in the race. And if he manages to get to the end, lap 28, of course, is the final lap of the race. If he manages to get through all 25 laps, he will be crowned TTML champion of Season 5. Lynx has retired into the pit lane. Disappointing, I think. He got swept up, of course, after that early lockup. Jorg, however, for the lead of the race, he attacks the inside line. He just actually runs out of deployment. It's almost as if he doesn't want to try and overtake down in towards turn number 8. And look at what this does. Simply Superman back in contention as well. Jorg now on the back of Volokongan again. He's got to wait until turn 11. This is the point where he goes flying past, and Jorg is now through, and he's into the lead of the race. Still, of course, not doing enough. Lynx is retiring, of course, his AI, I should say, is retiring out on track. Disappointing for Lynx's perspective, but obviously, final race of the season, he could have still picked up 10 points in terms of his championship standings, but obviously, he didn't want to continue on, which I think after that lockup in lap 1 is all fair, to be honest, and we're going to give him the benefit of the doubt, I think, with that one. But Jorg leading the way. Jorg leading the way from Volokongan in second, Simply Superman in third, and again, Simply Superman on the back of Volokongan. Is he into the pit lane this time around? No, he's still staying out on that set of soft compounded tyres. It's really ruining his own strategy, to be honest, and this gave Superman a chance down in towards turn 1. He isn't close enough, and of course, there's no actual DRS range down in towards turn 1. There used to be, I think, down in the olden days around this track. There used to be a third DRS zone. And Volokongan nearly loses the car coming out of turn 3. So Volokongan nearly loses the car coming out of turn 3. And at this moment in time, Jorg leading the way. Looks as if now the pendulum has swung in his favour for the race win. Superman, though, coming through very nicely indeed. He's showing his American form here. It's not the Alfa Romeo, and he is on the back of Volokongan, and he's going to fly past Volokongan down in towards turn 8. Absolutely sails on by, and Noisy is coming steaming in as well and behind. Thought there was going to be a little bit of contact there, but Noisy now on the back of Volokongan, and Volokongan has pretty much not got any response possibly to the back of Simply Superman, or has he? Noisy, look at the speed of the Aston Martin, now switches to the inside line, could be a 3 in a bed situation. Noisy now making it 2 in a bed, down the inside line. Volokongan, beautiful move that by Noisy, clean as you like. Obviously on worn tyres, Volokongan is going to struggle, and he is just doing that. His tyres look shot, his rear tyres especially look shot. Jorg out on top though, Simply Superman in second. Noisy there in third position. And looking in terms of the tyre wear so far, Volokongen's tyre is 45%. That rear right tyre, 45%. Noisy picks up the first 3-second time penalty of the night for multiple warnings. So obviously he's been track extending a considerable amount. Volokongen still not into the pit lane. His tyres are really gone. They get to about 30% around here, and honestly, they're gone. Tionis is into the pit lane. So Tionis, interestingly, doesn't want to be involved in this DRS train, and he's now back into the pit lane. Frankie Fro has also followed the men into the pits. Both of them, it looks like, going into a set of medium compound tyres as well. So both of them now going on a set of medium compound tyres. Tionis there in 8th, and actually Tionis has gone onto a set of softs. Tionis has gone onto a set of soft compound of tyre. And yeah, they're going to be fresher than Volokongen's at this stage. But Volokongen is struggling, what, 5-6 laps into a stint? Is Tionis going to manage 5-6 laps on a stint and then come into the pit lane? I don't know. I really don't know. Questions to be answered, I think, for that one. Tionis, I think, realises that he could be within striking range of the likes of Funky Chick, the likes of Harry Banks, when he's came out the pit lane. Obviously, he's going to be a lot quicker. And as soon as those tyres come online, they're about 2 seconds quicker as Harry Banks now flies past Volokongen. Volokongen is just dipping down the field like a stone through water at this stage, and Harry Banks is through, and he's into P4. But looking in terms of the tyre wear as well, further down the field, Jorg again. His tyre wear has been utterly insane, and he's got 31% on his rear right. 31% on his rear right. Simply Superman behind got 37% on his front right. So Jorg is not only managing his tyres, managing his ERS, managing his DRS as well. And somehow he's managing the lead of this race by 2.3 seconds and still pulling away. Absolutely remarkable. This kid, honestly, is going to go places. Volokongen, by the way, finally into the pit lane. I'm not sure if the stream might be on a little bit of a reverse rewind or something, but Volokongen into the pit lane, and he could even be behind Tionis coming out the pit lane. I think he is, to be honest. He's into the pit lane now. Set of mediums will go on, possibly to try and get to the end of the race. One stop could be quite pulling. I've seen Verstappen do that around here before in Abu Dhabi. But Volokongen now coming out the pit lane. Where is Frankie Fro going to be in all of this? Frankie Fro is coming out the pit lane. He's going to be appearing right hand side Volokongen, and Frankie Fro is pretty much nearly going to be alongside him. And this is now a battle. 8th and 9th position, and look at where Volokongen has came out. He's in a net 3rd at the minute, but he is going to be cost a lot of time because of that soft compound tyre stint. Noisy now on the back of the Irishman, Simply Superman. Simply Superman doing a good job on his tyres. Noisy overwearing his tyres just slightly less, and almost looked like as if he was not going to go for the move there, and he's got no intention to go for the move at this stage. Currently, Aston Martin's doing a good job. 1st and 3rd, Harry Banks 4th and 6th. Break FN, however, is going to be the big man to watch out for. He's the net leader of this race at this stage. Once everyone decides to come into the pit lane, Break FN is going to be the net leader. This throws Red Bull in to outscore Aston Martin by a considerable margin, and this will mean Red Bull will wrap up the constructors if, and only if, Break FN can get ahead of Jorg, basically coming out the pit lane. Jorg, speaking of which, is into the pit lane. So he is in. Both of them continue on and behind, but Jorg is into the pit lane. Also 4th into the pit lane. That is Frankie Fro, and Harry Banks, in fact, is the one into the pit lane, I should say. So Jorg, interestingly, set of medium compound tyres. Of course, he's going to use up a set of softs, I would imagine, towards the end of the race. He's going to use up a mandatory 2-stop. But now Jorg out of the pit lane. There is Break FN, and Break FN is going to be ahead by a considerable margin. About 2.5 seconds, I will make that out, coming out the pit lane. And now it's going to be Tionis and Jorg fighting side by side, coming out the pit lane. And Tionis is just behind Jorg on a set of soft compound tyres. He is in the mix now. But the Haasman, of course, has got to pit in later on in this race. Simply Superman, though, leading the way. Frankie Fro was spun coming through turn 3, and he spun the car completely on the inside of the infield there. So he spins the car. That was the first yellow flag of the night. Luckily, I think he's kept everything going intact in terms of his damage. And yeah, he only spun, I think, so he got away with that one pretty lightly indeed. Jorg now, going to be under pressure from the Norwegian Jonas. Jonas in 6th position, Jorg there in 5th. Simply Superman currently leading the way, Noisy in 2nd. Funky Chicken in 3rd if you are just tuning in. We are flying through this race. We're nearly halfway through already. If you do want to tune in for more action, by the way, F2 and F3 also live. As Jonas nearly goes into the back of Jorg, in towards turn 11. Did well there. There is a safety car, by the way, in F3. CR7 leading the way, Johan 2nd, Scuba in 3rd. Only 12 drivers there as well. Disappointing. And F2, I think, very similar in terms of their attendance. 12 drivers as well. Nemo currently leading the way. Pretty much all around the same lap times that has been set currently. Funky Chicken stays out. Simply Superman in from the lead of the race. Where is he going to be coming out on track? I think he's going to filter in front of Volokongan, possibly. On the set of medium compound tyres. He's out of the pit lane now. He actually got held up there slightly. I'm not sure if he put the X in slightly. But he is going to be just about ahead of Volokongan, I would say. Volokongan is there. And yeah, Simply Superman is going to be ahead by about 5/10 of a second coming down the pit lane. But this now throws Simply Superman into the mix. Jonas and Simply Superman, in their first stint, did an absolute awesome job. Both on a set of mediums. Simply Superman back in, set of medium compound size goes on, realises that Jorg is on the same strategy, and he is probably going to try and get those tyres towards the end of the race, if he can. Volokongan though, in 6th position, Jorg in 3rd on the back of Break FN, and Break FN now going to come under pressure. The Red Bull against the Aston Martin, excuse me. Jorg on the back of Break FN now switches to the outside line. The Red Bull is late on the brakes, and this is for the constructors, of course. Jorg goes through down into turn 11, gets the move done. He's up into P2. Lovely stuff there by Jorg. He's through and he's into P2. Break FN there in 3rd. Jonas in 4th, but Jonas now ingrained in that DRS train. He is on a very, very similar strategy. He's on a very different strategy compared to everyone out on track. So the big thing is going to tell whether he can get those tyres towards the end of the race. Lynx, by the way, saying, sorry about my son, not the way that I wanted to end the season. My mistake. Completely fine. As I said in commentary, Lynx, you've done awesome so far since joining TTML. Absolutely great for attending. Even though there's 10 drivers, it's great to see you're committed to the league as well. And moving forward, you're going to be an absolute asset. And I'm sure it is going to rub off next season. Jonas on the back of Break FN though, nearly launched it down in towards turn 1, tried to get the move done but didn't. Funky Chicken though leading the way, Jorg in 2nd, Break FN in 3rd. And remember, in terms of the permutations, Jorg has basically got to win this or finish 2nd, and Harry Banks has got a DNF. He's got a DNF, but if he finishes, he will be crowned champion because of everything else. Jonas now on the back of Break FN, and now Jonas waltzes past Break FN as if he's not even there. And the Red Bull now through on the Haas, I should say, on the Red Bull through, and he's into P3. They get confused sometimes. White wall tyres. Frankie Fro is spun through turn 7. Another spin for the Australian. Still continuing on. Maybe the rear is just overheating slightly. Funky Chicken though leading the way. He's doing a solid job, I've got to say. Funky Chicken in front, but he is now going to be at a distinct disadvantage as Break FN nearly tries to launch it on Jonas down in towards turn 11. Funky Chicken is going to be at a real distinct disadvantage out on track now because 7.3 seconds the gap. Jorgen behind on a much fresher set of tyres. Funky Chicken probably going to be coming into the pits this time around. And you would imagine that he's going to filter in behind Noisy, behind Harry Banks, and actually he stays out for another lap. So clearly feels as if he's going to go maybe longer stints, maybe set of softs towards the end, possibly. But a cautiousness, as you can tell by me saying that. Funky Chicken leads away, Jorgen 2nd, Jonas in 3rd. And yeah, honestly, Lynx, it's totally understandable. I think that'll lock up obviously down in towards that turn 5, really unfortunate. I'm going to say you had a good, strong qualifying session. That should be the focus, I think, going, of course, from tonight's race and push that in towards next season. My voice is starting to go. Funky Chicken leading the way, Jorg in 2nd, Jonas in 3rd, and everyone doing a solid job has been, by far, currently, out on track, the cleanest driving standards of the season so far. I'm sure you will agree that quality is better than quantity. And we have seen some good overtakes as well out on track, some good battles being shown. And now, Funky Chicken leads the way. Only 6 seconds the gap, but look at the gap now coming down. Jorg clearly feels he has got the pace to try and close in on Funky Chicken. And I would imagine the Alfa Romeo is going to probably come in sooner rather than later. How is Noisy getting on? On the back of Olakongan. Down in towards turn 11. Look at the deployment. Look at the usage. Is he going to get close enough and then back off this? Or is he going to go for the move? I think he is going to go for the move. Down the inside line. Late on the brakes. And Noisy sails that down the inside line. Lovely move again. Noisy on the brakes tonight. It is literally like watching the Netherlands in the World Cup of 2010. Noisy is through, and he's into P6. Simply Superman down into P5, and Volakongan down into Simply Superman up into P5 as well. Volakongan still down in P7 as a result of that move from Noisy. Noisy through, and he's into 6th. Funky Chicken though leading the way. Jorg in 2nd, still not coming in the pit lane, and actually. That was Break FN coming into the pit lane. So Break FN, interestingly, goes into the pit lane, set a medium compound tyres, and this is not a half bad call, to be honest. He realises that obviously Funky Chicken is probably going to come into the pit lane sooner rather than later. This is a good call from Break FN. He's on much fresher tyres. Everyone is not really guaranteed to get the end of the race on those tyres, so I think he's called this early. I think this is a master strategy. If he can pull it off, if he's got the time to do it, if Break FN is going to be ahead of Jorg coming out of the pit lane, if Jorg decides to pit, and the rest of the guys, of course, instead of me decide to pit, which they might not, but if they do, Break FN might have just won this race from that call into the pit lane. I honestly think that. 16.5 seconds. But look at how that gap is going to be coming down. Fresh mediums, honestly, it's like fresh softs around here. Noisy on the back of Simply Superman. He is a man on an absolute mission on these set of mediums. Through he goes into P4. And Noisy is seriously looking impressive tonight. He's on fire in terms of that, in terms of the Aston Martin. And Aston Martin currently outscoring Red Bull. 2nd and 4th position. And I'm going to have to get my calculator out in terms of the point system. Let's see in terms of the point system what everyone's going to be scoring. If it was to stop at this stage in the race, Jorg would be picking up 25 points. Noisy would be picking up 17, so that's 42 points. Harry Banks and Break will be picking up 25 points. Gap is 17 points, and actually now that goes up because Funky Chicken into the pit lane. Jorg and Noisy can do this. They can win the Constructors tonight. Harry Banks obviously moves up a position as well. So Jorg and Noisy, 50 points they'd be picking up. 50 points in terms of the Constructors. Harry Banks and Break FN. If Break doesn't get ahead of Funky Chicken, which he is not going to, it's going to be 6th and 8th currently. 14 and 12 points, 26 points. By my calculations, Jorg and Noisy currently hold their own. The Aston Martins are currently clawing back the deficit, and I think they're 4 points ahead, theoretically out on track. However, it's going to be more because Noisy now down the inside line on Tionas sails past him down in towards turn 8, and the Aston Martins are putting on a right old show here. Jorg is throwing, he's into the lead of the race still. Noisy throwing into the 2nd. Tionas, however, is going to battle this back. He's got very limited DRS. I think he's going to derate before he gets to Noisy, and he will. He doesn't use up the deployment, and Noisy is going to remain in P2. But now, 55 points between Jorg and Noisy. The Constructors battle is on. Harry Banks, if he doesn't find any pace on this strategy, and if these guys battle in front of him, that's what he's only going to rely on essentially at this stage. Simply Superman is all over the back of Chiona, who I think made a mistake coming out of turn 13. And Simply Superman now picking up the scrap to try and get onto the back, but these set of softs are gone. These set of softs already, you can tell, are going. And this is a struggle, really, for Tionas. And he decides to dive into the pit lane. And rightfully so, I think. He wasn't going to get towards the end of the race on that sort of soft compound tyres. And this now throws another spanner into the works. Harry Banks gains a position. Break FN will gain a position. Red Bull might just be back in this. But Tionas into the pit lane. Set of medium compound tyres. Theoretically out on track. Jorg currently not doing enough, of course, to wrap up the point standings, because he'd be picking up 1st. Harry Banks will be picking up 5th, 15 points, 30 to 30 points. It's not enough for Jorg to try and bridge him down. It's going to be a 7-point advantage, I think, by Harry Banks at this stage in this race. But all is going to be pretty much revealed in the next 10 or 11 laps or so. Is Aston Martin going to win this Constructors' title tonight? They will. They might have to. Well, it's obviously the final round of the season, so they have to. But Harry Banks has just not switched those tyres on at all. I'm not sure whether he's struggling in terms of his pace, or if there's maybe a bit of floor damage or suspension damage, or even a bit of damage from earlier on in the race. Who knows? Harry Banks, because of the DRS train that is forming in front of him, has got no chance to catch these guys back up. The only chance he's going to get is if he goes long to the end of the race, those guys pick for a set of softs, and then he's back within a chance of winning this. That's the only time, that's the only chance he's really got of winning this race. Jorg, currently, out on track, leads this race, but watch out for Funky Chicken, watch out for Break FN, watch out for Tionis, and even watch out for Frankie Fro as well, because they're going to be right up in this. It is one of the best strategic races I think I've seen all season here in TTML, and onto lap 19 we go. Jorg leading the way, Noisy in second, Simply Superman in third. In terms of the tyre wear so far, Jorg on his tyres, out in front, when my task system just decides to update. 18%. Noisy's on fresher tyres because he's got a lap extra, but he is going to be wearing those tyres away, and that means Jorg has got so much more better tyre management than Noisy. He can hold his own out in front while not even worrying about his teammate in behind, because I think his teammate has pretty much got the pace to try and hold off Simply Superman and Volakongan. And look at the gap, because Harry Banks is not in the slipstream. 3.1, 3.2, going to be up to 3.3, going to be up to 3.4 down into the braking zone. 3.5 seconds, in fact, into the braking zone. And look at how much time he loses. Harry Banks has got no chance. It's as simple as that. Harry Banks has got no chance now to try and counteract the guys in front, unless they're all to pit in. Tionis now around the outside and towards 7, and then through 8, gets the job done. Very nice move that by Tionis, through 8 and 9 in fact. Tionis is through and he's into 7th position. He now makes that move, but now Break FN needs this for the Red Bulls to try and come back in terms of the Constructors. He's going to try and launch it down the inside line, half-hearted, but Tionis stays in 7th, Break FN in 8th position. Honestly, one of the most strategic races you will see all season here in TTML. Really unfolding between your eyes at this moment in time. 9 laps to go. Jorg and Noisy are 9 laps away from being crowned Constructors champions at this moment in time. But mediums, will they get to the end of the race? That is the crucial thing. Will they get to the end of the race? Will any of them decide? I think Volakongan is probably going to be the one that picks in out of these guys, if I've got to be truly honest. I don't think those tyres are going to get to the end. Looking at that, it's 27% now. By the end of the race, it's going to be about 70%. I think everyone else is fine on those tyres. So the mediums, I think, are going to be fine. Funky Chicken, 6th position, 6.5 seconds behind Harry Banks. He's not really catching either, so he's not really impeding in. Simply Superman, by the way, is going to try and move on Noisy. Backs off down and straight in towards turn 8, so doesn't get the move done. Volakongan just hanging on in there at the moment, and Simply Superman actually gets a mistake coming out of turn 8. Gets caught on the curve through 9 as well, and now brings Noisy back 6 cents away, and he's not going to be close enough to try and launch a move down in towards 11. So the Jorg leading the way. Noisy's feeling the pressure now. He's got tyres to burn, but he cannot simply go anywhere because Simply Superman is quicker than him within a DRS train. Volakongan is quicker than him within a DRS train. And these guys are going to be really, really hard done by if these guys get embroiled in a big battle. Harry Banks could easily come back into this, but the DRS trains are powerful around here in Abu Dhabi, especially down the back straight, down in towards turns 8 and 9. It's especially powerful. Noisy is into the pits. So Noisy is into the pit there. Now, I was not expecting that. He's into the pit. Set of soft compounder tyres going to be coming on the car. There is also a reaction from Harry Banks into the pit lane. Onto a set of soft compounder tyres he gets on. And now Harry Banks into the pit lane. Set us off companion tyres. Tionis, Break FN. I did say watch out for them. And they're going to be right involved in this. I think Break FN's going to be ahead, possibly, of Noisy. He is. I think barely. Noisy's got the inside line, but it's not enough. And Noisy's behind Break FN coming out the pit lane, but on a fresh set of softs, he's much more prone to try and get those tyres towards the end of the race. A strategic race now unfolding. Break FN Runs out wide. There was a tiny bit of a push to pass, if I've got to be honest in that. Noisy 6th and 7th. And I think Noisy was going to get the move done anyways, to be honest. So I think the stewards might not look into that. Volokongan, by the way, down the inside and towards turn 11. Beautiful helicopter cam this. Volokongan is through and he's into P2. Break FN loses control of the car, coming out of 8 and 9. Noisy now 6/10 away, and Noisy now a man on a mission. Out on track. I don't know in terms of the constructors what it's going to be like, because I think the Red Bulls are back in this all of a sudden. Will Jorg decide to come into the pit lane and slap around? That is the key. Is he coming in? Yes, Jorg is in. Jorg is into the pit lane from the lead of the race. Is Volokongan and Simply Superman going to follow suit? No, both of them stay out. Both of them, I think, might be committed to the end of the race, but Jorg is in. Set us off compound tyres. They realise he's got to come out in front of Tiana to stand any sort of chance to try and outscore the Red Bulls, and he's going to do that in buckets of time. He's miles ahead of Tiana's coming out the pit lane. So Jorg out of the pit lane, miles ahead of Tiana's, and Aston Martins are ahead of Red Bull. Harry Banks on a set of softs, 3.6 seconds away. I don't think he's going to catch Break FN before the end. Who knows what is going to happen? If Harry Banks really gets the skates on in this final stint, then he's got a real good chance of winning this. If not, he might be prone to one of these guys actually winning this, because Simply Superman now through, and he's into the lead of the race, and the Alpha Males now lead. First and third, Simply Superman leading the way. Volokongan now in second, and now Volokongan is going to fight back at him then and towards turn 11. And now on the inside line, gets the move done. Beautiful. Volokongan through, and he's into the lead of the race. You can hear my voice is struggling, as you can probably tell. Volokongan leading the way in Noisy on the back of Tionas, which is the inside line. Tionas gives him room, and to be fair, I think Noisy just shuts the door, quite literally in his face there. Noisy through, and he's into P5. 2.5 seconds the gap. Funky Chicken currently is in the net lead of this race, believe it or not. He could get those tyres towards the end of the race, but it's going to be a real hard push to try and get those tyres towards the end in relatively good strategy. Simply Superman either nearly lost it coming out of turn 20, or he was deciding to decide to come into the pit lane now. He doesn't. Jorg 3.9 seconds behind at this moment in time in terms of the point system. 4th and 5th would award you 17 and 15 points, 32 points. Harry Banks 13 and 12. Aston Martin are not doing enough at this stage. They need to win and finish second, ideally, to win this. And Harry Banks actually, I think, made a mistake. Possibly. Oh no, Break FN's into the pit then. That's why the gap's got up. And he's in for a front wing change. So Break FN obviously caught the wall somewhere. We didn't see that on our stream. Break FN, front wing change, into the pit lane. And he is going to be side by side, possibly behind Frankie Fro coming across the line now. And he's going to be well behind Frankie Fro coming out the pit lane. Probably about 3 seconds, I would say, coming out the pit lane. Frankie Fro in P8 now. Break FN down at 9th. And Simply Superman on the back of Volokongan still for the lead of the race. Derating down the straight. A little bit of a flat out there from Simply Superman. Jorg is catching Funky Chicken, but whether he can catch the leaders, if they're staying out on a set of medium compound tyres, that they have to, really. That it's too late on to try and come into the pit lane at this point now in the race. Volokongan and Simply Superman have got to manage those tyres. I think they've pulled up the strategy. I think they're going to do this, you know. At this stage in the race, if you ask me now, I think Volokongan or Simply Superman, one of these two is going to win. However, because Jorg's catching at a rate of knots, I don't know now. And actually, Simply Superman is in. So Simply Superman into the pit lane. Onto a set of soft compound tyres he will go on. And all of this is coming back into Aston Martin's playbook. Once again, Aston Martin are now going to be 3rd and 4th. Point system. Honestly, this is going to go down to the wire in terms of the constructors. This will go final lap of the race, I'm telling you now. Because there is Simply Superman coming out the pit, and there is Harry Banks, and Harry Banks is ahead. Simply Superman on a fresh set of softs. Who knows, can he outpace Harry Banks, the championship leader, and soon to be crowned TTML champion of Season 5, because Jorg is not doing enough with Harry Banks still not DNFing out of this race. He's in 6th at the minute. Jorg there in 3rd, but look at the gap, 1.8 seconds, the gap to Funky Chicken. And with 5 laps to go, this is going to be close. This is going to be close. It's 7.8 seconds the gap, 7.9. Now back down to 7.6. And all of a sudden, Jorg is getting into this. Noisy has got to try and follow suit. He's got to try and pick up the pace slightly on that slightly worn set of soft compounded tyres. He's got to try and pick up the pace. But Jorg now, nearly within striking range. Maybe down in towards turn 8 next time around. I think he is going to be within striking range on the back of the Brit in front. The Dutchman has done a solid job in this race. Volokongan though leading the way. Gap consistently coming down to Volokongan. Is he into the pit lane? No. Volokongan stays out. He is committed, I am sure now, to the end of the race. It's going to be a bit like the tortoise and the hare, to be honest. Tortoise, Volokongan in this case, just for analogy's sake. He is the tortoise. The hare is Jorg. And the hare is catching. But now, this is the biggest test. Can Jorg get past Funky Chicken down in towards turn 8 or turn 11? If he does, he will win this race on that sort of soft compounded tyres. If he doesn't, and he's held back for an extra lap, I don't know. I really don't know if he will be able to. But Jorg now on the back, 57% of VRS. He's going to fly past Funky Chicken down the straight. You can probably tell how this one's going to go. Look at the speed already. Aston Martin going to sail on by 200 mile an hour down the straight. Jorg is through and he's into P2. And now, Aston Martin back in to the Constructors' Championship lead, I think, by my calculations. Volokongan leading. Jorg now in second, 4.6 seconds. That is an easy gap now to try and bridge down. Volokongan's tyres are going. Deployment being used up for Jorg as well. And this looks like it could be Jorg's crowning glory here in Abu Dhabi. However, he's going to fall short of the championship because Harry Banks is still doing enough in 6th position. Obviously, with the lack of drivers, it basically threw Jorg's hand, and it was really unlucky, I think, in that regard. But Jorg is doing such a solid job, and honestly, if there was more drivers, I still think it would have been pretty much a similar result tonight. Volokongan still continuing on. 3.7 seconds. Is that enough for him to hang on to the end of the race? That is the biggest question now. Can Volokongan hold on to the win? Jorg there in second, 3.5 seconds, 3.4 seconds coming across the line, 3 laps to go, and it's on for Jorg to try and get the championship victory for the Aston Martin team in the Constructors. Second and fourth currently, 25 and 17 points, 42. Harry Banks and Break FN, 14 and 11, 25. It's not enough for Aston Martin at this stage. Jorg needs to win this. Jorg needs to win. Noisy needs to be third, ideally, to win the Constructors for Aston Martin. It's going to come down to maybe a point right at the end of the season here. It's 20... It's, by my calculations, it's 17 points. So actually, no, if Jorg passes Volokongan, he's going to win this for Aston Martin. He will win this for Aston Martin. Because the gap is 20 points. I thought it was 22. But no, Jorg, if he passes Volokongan in the final 2 laps of this race, he's going to win the Constructors for the Aston Martin team. And throw into that, Simply Superman's catching Harry Banks as well. So now Red Bull might be in trouble, because Simply Superman taking a much thinner line down the straight, 9/10 of a second, within DRS range on Harry Banks. This is going to come down to the wire. Harry's also catching Jonas as well. This is coming down to the wire for the Constructors. Volokongan catches that wide, and now Jorg nearly within striking range. This is tense. This is literally like Heart of Courage moment right here. Jorg on the back of Volokongan for the lead of this race. Through the final couple of corners. Doing an absolute solid job, all of these guys. Volokongan leading the way. Jorg in second position. Funky Chicken in third. And it's about game time now. It's hammer time for Jorg. Quite literally out on track. The Aston Martin driver has driven such a solid race. And be fair to him, he has driven probably the best race of his season. Only to fall short of the driver's standings. In terms of the Constructors, Aston Martin are about to win this if he passes him. If he passes him, and Harry Banks stays in 6th, he will win. Simply Superman could still yet have a say as well. Here is Jorg for the lead of the race here in Abu Dhabi. 2 laps to go. He makes his move down the straight, leaves him nearly short of him. There's a little bit of contact actually between them both. Jorg into the lead of the race. Job done. Now the focus of the attention turns to Harry Banks and Simply Superman in behind, because look at Simply Superman launches it down the inside line. Harry Banks was aware of that, and I think he tried to back out Harry Banks into the DRS range, and Simply Superman doesn't get a good run. And now all of a sudden, it's back on again for Simply Superman. Harry Banks on the back of Tionis. This is the battle now to watch, because Jorg's going to be flying out in front. This is the battle to focus on for the final lap and a half of this race. Jorg leading the way. Volokongan in second. Funky Chicken in third at this stage in the race. In terms of the Discord, by the way, if somebody can get the Discord, I can see a few drivers there, a few prospective drivers, I should say, tuning into the stream. If you do want the Discord, I'm sure somebody's going to provide you with the link in the YouTube comments. Otherwise, it is at TTML_F1 on Twitter, and I'm sure the link is there. If not, I will personally put it in myself after this race has ended. Final lap of the race has begun. Jorg leads the way. Volokongan in second. Funky Chicken is in trouble, possibly from Noisy in behind. But Noisy has got a 3-second penalty. It's not enough for Tionis to try and gain into the gap. Simply Superman. All hopes now rest on him to get this move done and secure Aston Martin the constructors' standings. If Harry Banks finishes 5th, then I think it's a point. I think it's a point separating at the end of this race. Simply Superman needs this now. He's right on the slipstream of Harry Banks. Harry Banks, I don't think it's close enough. And here is the Alfa Romeo, possibly to seal Aston Martin, one of their big old rivals. This could be 3 wide actually down the straight. Harry Banks to the inside line. Simply Superman tries to come in all the way around the outside line. And he's cut up right at the pass. And Simply Superman doesn't manage to get the move done. And now it's Harry Banks on Tionis. This is unbelievable. This is so tense. Harry Banks is on the back of Tionis, lunges it down the inside line, and the Red Bull's through. The Red Bull's through. Into P5 he goes, but I don't think it's enough. Jorg is coming through the final couple of corners. Funky Chicken's tyres are completely gone, and look at Noisy right on the back of him. Noisy could yet still wrap this up for Aston Martin. It's going to come down to the final point. Jorg, round the final corner, is going to come across the line to win the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Funky Chicken's on the wall, and Funky Chicken is in the wall, but Jorg is through, and he wins in Abu Dhabi. Volokongan in second, Noisy in third, and Funky Chicken across the line to finish in fourth. He's run out of fuel in the end, but he gets third. He gets third in the end. And do the maths now, because I think Aston Martin have secured this. I think they've turned it around. Jorg has won. Volokongan in second. Funky Chicken in third. Front 3. Points scoring on the doors. Provisionally, without any penalties. I don't think there's going to be any stewards reports, because there's been hardly any contact. Maybe Simply Superman and Harry Banks, but that is about it. Breaker Fenn's going to come across the line, by the way, to finish in 9th. Frankie Bow as well in 8th position. I will run you through the grid order, but my God, what a tense race in Abu Dhabi. Strategically, one of the best races of the season. Driver of the day awarded by the in-game fans is Funky Chicken. So Funky Chicken awarded the in-game driver of the day. I think Jorg, honestly, will get my driver of the day in terms of his performance. Drove absolutely solid. Give a shout out as well to his teammate Noisy. He drove a solid race as well. Aston Martin on the top 7 podium with Jorg, and I'm frantically going to do the calculations when the grid order comes up, but the podium celebrations now filter through, and it is a great win for Jorg, and it's so unfortunate that this point standings and there wasn't many people turned up, because if it was, Jorg might have just won the championship there. If there was a final round of the season, an extra round added on, I think it will come down to the wire between these two, but Jorg has won here in Abu Dhabi. It's Jorg who wins. 3 seconds the gap to Volokongan in the end. Funky Chicken in third. Noisy in fourth. By my calculations, it looks as if Aston Martin have secured the constructors. 47 points they have gained tonight. Red Bull 5th and 9th. 15 and 11. 26 points. Therefore, to 24 points advantage. Aston Martin win the constructors championship by 4 points. 4 points is the gap between Aston Martin and Red Bull, and they have done it absolutely brilliantly as well. Jorg takes the win. Volokongan in second, Funky Chicken in third, Noisy in fourth, Harry Banks in fifth, Jonathan 6, Simply Superman in 7th, Frankie 418, Break FN in 9th. Link's the only DNFer out of that race. Very clean in terms of driving standards, very clean in terms of the action, apart from that last lap battle which we had between Harry Banks and Simply Superman, who obviously got cut up at the curb. I think Aston Martin, though, provisionally confirmed Constructors Champions of Season 5 of TTML, and Harry Banks crowned Season 5 Drivers Champion of TTML F1 as well. So well done to Harry Banks, and well done, of course, provisionally to the Aston Martin team on winning the Constructors as well. But I'm pretty sure, if my math is right, Aston Martin has won the Constructors Championship by 4 points, and that is what it really came down to right at the end. But that is it for tonight. You can probably tell that my voice is gone again. There's going to be no interviews, sadly. I know it's the final round of the season. There's going to be no interviews. My voice is completely and utterly shot. It is my final solo commentary, of course, of TTML F1 this season. And honestly, I really hope you enjoyed this race. I could see so much love there in the comment section for everyone. That is what TTML is all about. Respecting every single driver, not only out on track, but in the comment section as well. And I think being kind to everyone is the fairest thing to do, and great sportsmanship. We saw with Links on lap 1. Great sportsmanship to get out the way of everyone, not impede in terms of a championship fight. Great stuff from him. Great in terms of, obviously, the Aston Martins winning, and Harry Banks wrapping up the drivers' standings as well. But that was unbelievable. That was an absolute unbelievable race. I will quickly try and get the Discord link for you if I have got it handy. If not, somebody can pop it into the chat. That would be absolutely brilliant. I think I'm in the server actually, so I could probably just do that. I could probably go settings. And that is not it. Hang on. Give me a second. I will get there eventually. I can't get... it's because I'm on the app, on the Discord app, so I think I am unable possibly to try and send a link over. Give me a second. I will not end the stream until I try and find this out. But if somebody can put the Discord in, that would be absolutely fantastic in the comment section, because it doesn't look like I have actually got it. Menno saying, James, thanks for the commentary this season. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you everyone for tuning in tonight. I really hope, of course, you did enjoy the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and I'm going to try and get you the link to the Discord. Hang on a minute. Somebody, if you're listening, try and give me the link to the Discord. It is actually on the tweet, if I'm not mistaken, and the link should work. So the link should work that I'm going to be putting into the to the YouTube comment section now. Hopefully it comes up as a link in the comment section as well. It doesn't, but that is if you just copy and paste my comment there. That is the link to the Twitter, to the Discord for TTML F1, and I know quite a few of you might be joining up after TTML F1 tonight. I really hope you do, because as a league director going forward, our priority is to make sure that every single driver, no matter what your experience is, no matter if you're racing for the first time, no matter if you're racing for the 100th time here in TTML, we want to provide an experience for everyone moving forward. And I think, honestly, it is now my time to say that, obviously, it has been an absolute honour commentating for you, of course, as head commentator here for TTML F1 this season. Of course, I was doing F4 as well because the PSGL events took up that, but I really hope, obviously, you enjoyed it, and a big thank you, finally, to every single driver, to every single commentator, and especially to TTG Kermit, of course, in the comment section there. I thought I'd throw this on him. An absolute warrior, of course. He is going to be leaving as owner of TTML at the end, well, at the start of next season. The league directors, myself, Honey Badger, Conti, and Luke Etheridge are going to be taking, of course, control of the league. One of us will probably be appointed as owner, just to confirm that as well. But Kermit, of course, absolutely unbelievable. As I said earlier on in the Discord, you've been an absolute asset to this league. This is your league, this is your baby. And honestly, I couldn't be prouder to commentate. I couldn't be prouder, of course, to take forward the vision that has been set between us for TTML moving forward. And hopefully Season 6 is going to be very good indeed for next season. And of course, no matter if you are a first-time driver, if you are literally driving with assist, if you're driving with no assist, if you're driving with race line only or ABS, everyone is welcome here in TTML. Everyone will be welcomed with open arms, and I really hope you're going to be joining us, of course, for next season for TTML F1, and indeed, of course, for F2, F3, F4, and F5. That is also going to be running as well. I will end the stream very shortly, but to take you through what you can expect for the next 2 weeks here on this channel. Going, of course, into the first round next season, the 11th and 14th of November. So mark that down in your calendars, 11th to 14th of November, 2 weeks' time, we're going to be back. And it's my favourite track, it's Portimao. It's Portimao. Brilliant, of course. We are going to be changing up the dates as well in terms of the format. I'm sure if you're in the Discord, you might have already seen it. But if you're a new driver and you're wanting to sign up, the 11th is, of course, the Thursday. The 12th will be the Friday. No racing on the Saturday. The 14th, of course, is on a Sunday, and that is where TTML F1 is going to be next season, and F2 and F3 will maintain their current standing on a Thursday at 8 PM UK time, and F4 and F5 are going to be live as well, an exclusive on Friday nights for TTML as well. I think that pretty much covers absolutely everything, but I really hope that you did enjoy the stream. If you did, like, comment, subscribe. Tick that notification bell, of course, if you are new. One chapter might have ended in terms of Kermit leaving, but another chapter will start for Season 6 of TTML, and we cannot wait to bring you the action, of course. The first race, as I say, next season, between the 11th and the 14th of November. It depends on what your pace is. Do the evaluation, what is set out, and make sure that you do join us, of course. And it starts on the 11th to the 14th of November. 11th to the 14th of November. So if you count it out in your calendar, look on your iPhone or whatever phone you might have, 2 weeks' time is when we're going to be back, of course, live and exclusive on League Racing TV. But I really hope you've enjoyed it. I'm now going to go because you can tell I'm just waffling on at this stage, and still 6 people have tuned in. So thank you to those 6 people that are just hearing me waffle for an endless amount of time. But thank you so much for watching TTML this season. It's been an absolute honour, as I say, to bring you the commentary for TTML F1. I will be back, of course, on Sunday night and on Thursday nights moving forward for Season 6 as well. And that is on F1 and F2, where I'm going to be commentating, of course, moving forward here in TTML. That is it. Thank you so much for watching, and until 2 weeks' time in Portimao, goodbye.